and welcome to the Nintendo Switch Online Game Club, the show where we play through the games available on Nintendo's various NSO apps completely at random. I'm your host, Derrick Bittner, and in this episode, I'm joined by two returning guests. First up is Sabrina, who last time got sporty with Mario Tennis 64. How you doing, Sabrina?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to learn more about what I'm playing, but I'm doing good.
Good to hear. And Rebecca Stone, who got the NES puzzler Fire and Ice last time. How you doing, Rebecca?
Doing good. I'm excited.
And as you're both likely aware, there are now over 200 games across the NSO, and while some are widely known like Super Mario Bros. And Zelda, there are some odd picks that could be considered hidden gems. We honestly don't know. So what we do is enter all those games into a randomizer, pick one, and then give our initial thoughts. And this week, the Wheel of Games has chosen The Adventures of Lolo for the NES. What is your experience with The Adventures of Lolo? Let's start with you, Rebecca, because I found out last time.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know anything about this game. I do know it's for the NES. But the only time I have ever heard this title is from. Are you familiar with the We Shop Wednesday song? Um, People will spam it like in comment sections and stuff. You gotta search it up if you never heard We Shop Wednesday. I think it starts with Adventure of Lola 1 and 2, like Dig Dug something. It all rhymes. But that's the only place where I've ever heard the title of this game, and I don't know anything else.
What about you, Sabrina? Do you have any familiarity?
Um, so I've heard the name before, and the only instance that I feel like I remember Adventures of Lolo was through like an animated, like an animated Nintendo thing from like early like Newgrounds YouTube era, and I'm like, I think the character was in there.
Amazing. So, I actually can guarantee you, if you have a familiarity with one character, you should know this Adventures of Lolo. So, Adventures of Lolo was a childhood game for me. I rented it. The Adventures of Lolo is a game by HAL, and you might know two characters from the original Kirby's Dream Land called Lolo and La La La. They're these characters.
Oh,
Lolo is the blue
Oh,
guy that you push blocks around with, and he's trying to rescue Lala. But in Kirby,
okay.
it's Lolo and La La La, and they serve as bosses in the original Dreamland, and have popped up on occasion, and actually featured in the Kirby's Right Back at You anime.
I love that.
So
oh,
Wait, so which one came first?
I don't know which came first. I want to say I'm honestly not
This was
sure.
this was 1989,
I think
and
Lolo
then
might have come first, honestly, and they just sort of tossed it in there. I
you
may,
said the original Kirby's Dream Land.
Yeah, they were in the very first Game Boy game. I forget when Kirby's Dream Land exactly came out.
That was 92.
Yeah, so
1992.
Lolo
So this was
precedes
first.
Kirby. This is sort of Hal's original,
Wow.
I guess, mascot. I don't know if it was, but they got three games. I've only ever played the first one, but so my history with this was I rented Adventures of Lolo as a kid, and picked it up, and I found myself really enjoying it. And I'm sorry, Rebecca, you got another NES puzzler.
At least I like have heard of this one before, and I don't know. I'm glad that I'm doing some older stuff that I've never played before.
This one's interesting because it's all you can do is push a block. And the core idea, I think if I remember correctly, you're trying to collect all of one thing in order to open the door, and you're just going up a bunch of floors until you reach the final floor where you can finally rescue Lala. There's no real combat, but there's statues that will kill you as soon as you step in front of them. So you have to find ways to get like ammunition to freeze them for a short time, and then you can move them around and stuff like that. So it's all about moving things around so you can clear the way and get a special, open up a chest, and then get the jewel in that chest, which clears out all the enemies so you can move on to the next floor. I believe that's the core gimmick. It's been a little bit, so I forget details. And yes, there is sometimes because you shoot them once, and if you shoot them again, they'll disappear. They'll like go off the screen. I want to give these tips because we don't have manuals, so you have to just have a base
Word of
idea
mouth.
of what you got to do here. So we're on the schoolyard,
Yeah.
giving all these tips and whatnot.
Aw,
So
it looks cute.
it is a very cute game. I will warn you. You can listen to the soundtrack for 2-3 levels. After
Oh
that,
no.
put something else on. There is one
Oh
song
no.
that plays the entire game.
Oh boy.
It's good. It's a good song,
Okay.
but it's not good enough to
What?
last for the entire time you're going to be doing these puzzles. Even now, I can still remember it because you hear it the entire time.
I'm sure. Oh boy. Oh, I can't wait. This is exciting.
So after hearing all of that, what are you guys thinking now? What about you, Sabrina? What do you think after getting a little bit of history on Adventures of Lolo?
I'm intrigued because I don't really play too much like NES, SNES games. Really, I don't know why they 2D games I don't play as much as I should. But yeah, no, I'm intrigued to play it because I do like puzzle games. So I'll see how it happens when I play it. But no, it sounds interesting. I see some screenshots of it, and I'm like, it does look cute. I do agree. So yeah, no, I'm excited to try it out.
Yeah. What about you, Rebecca? Now that you've learned a little bit more.
Well, like last time, I'm not a big fan of puzzle games. It's not a genre I typically seek out, but I did survive Fire and Ice. And this looks better just from, just impressions of looking at screenshots. And I didn't hate Fire and Ice, so I think I'll like this. It looks very cute.
Yeah, I've looked it up to just see how much is actually part of the game. So there are 50 levels. 50 rooms arranged in 10 floors of 5 is how it goes down. So you have to collect the hearts in order to open a treasure chest and collect the gem inside, which will open the exit to the next room or the floor. And the obstacles get a little more complex as time goes on for sure. But I can say I beat this game on that rental. So as a 8-year-old, I'm going to say somewhere around there, I beat this game.
That means it's doable for me.
Yeah. So I feel like it's possible, and I don't remember having to go for help. But yeah, I rented it, beat it once, and that's why I never bought it because, well, I already beat it. I don't need it.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual. I think for that time, they usually made them like too difficult, or once you got to a certain point, so that you couldn't beat it in one rental period.
Yeah, it's weird to think about when going back to it. It's like, oh wow, I actually did do it in one go, but maybe others had trouble. I don't know. Maybe I was just really on fire that weekend when I played it.
You were a prodigy at puzzle games on the NES.
You are a puzzle master.
Oh no. Now I feel like I can only go downhill.
No, this is good. This is a good one.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot else to say until you guys get some hands on it since you haven't tried it before, but I'm hopeful you'll enjoy this one. This is one I'm hoping you both will enjoy. But we'll see if I still enjoy it coming back to it. Again, I can guarantee you the music will drive you mad eventually.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, anything else you guys want to mention or before we break for the week to go play some Adventures of Lolo?
No.
All right. Well, there you have it. We'll see you guys very soon for our full thoughts on the Adventures of Lolo for the NES. Till then. And we're back after a week of playing Adventures of Lolo for the NES, one of my childhood favorites, but a game neither Sabrina nor Rebecca had even played. So, Rebecca, I'll start with you since you're our NES puzzle guru after all this.
Oh, I
What'd
don't
you end
know.
up thinking about Adventures of Lolo?
I feel like this game club is trying to get me to become like an old school puzzle fan or an old school puzzle master, and like it's trying so hard, but I don't know. My brain is just not wired for this. I don't know. This is a very cute game, but like, oh my gosh, am I just like, is it me? Am I dumb, or is it really hard?
I don't think you're dumb, but what do you think, Sabrina?
No, I agree. I don't think you're dumb either. Because I was like at first I was like, okay, like this is cute. I like it, and then I'm like, oh my god, what the heck do I do here?
First of all, it explains nothing. It just like
No.
you have to figure out like what each thing does. Like I don't know. It's not very. It doesn't ease you into it. It's just like here's everything.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those where I feel like the manual probably would have explained how each enemy acts and
I'm sure.
that sort of thing. And granted, there's enough context where I think you could figure out what everything does. So you have to just go through the trial and error of it all.
It
But
was definitely trial and error for sure.
Yeah.
but I have to ask, did either of you beat it?
No.
No.
Okay. So I will admit, I don't know how I can't imagine myself beating this when I was a kid, but I know I remember this ending. I remember this ending when I actually reached it, but I don't know how I did it. I don't know if I found like early internet somehow I don't know what I did, but somehow I got through all these puzzles and I have no idea how because I was looking up answers because I wanted
That's
to see the
impressive.
ending. I wanted to see the ending and seeing what it was all about. And the thing is, there's some of them where it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many little steps. And then you have to like, yeah, I was rewinding quite a bit just to fix small mistakes. Like you push a block a little too far. That way you don't have to, you have to use the, unalive button to
Well, yeah, so the first like right off the bat, everything I do with a game is I test all of the buttons. I want to see what everything does. And there's like really no buttons in this game. Like you move, that's pretty much it. And like you press A every once in a while. So I'm like clicking start, clicking select, and then like my character dies. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I guess there's situations where I might want to die. And there absolutely was because you can like soft lock yourself in some of these puzzles where like you get yourself stuck and like there's not really much that you can do to get out of it. You have to like die to restart it. I definitely did use the rewind a lot for that because I did not want to like have to restart too many times or like lose my lives. I can definitely understand why like the password system would be helpful in this kind of game to like jump back to where you were, without having to redo all the floors to get back up there.
fortunately it is very generous with the passwords, with the continues. Like, you give yourself enough time and really think about stuff, you can figure this all out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's whether or not you want to actually go through that process because
Yeah.
some of these like it was so weird. Some of the puzzles, even by the end, I had to absolutely look up. But some of them are like, no, I got this. I got this all figured out what I need to do. Got all the minor things here and there that I just need to get. I understood the assignment. It was just putting the pieces together. And sometimes I had to look up a guide and I'm like, oh, I was, 3/4 of the way there. I just missed that last piece in order to put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's whereas like, all right, it's a bit
I feel like
unfortunate.
I really struggled with any of the ones where there is water in it and you had to use like one of the little enemies to go over the like kind of make a bridge to go over the water since you can't swim. And like it moves around in the water, so you kind of have to time it so that you're like getting everything in the right order almost.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to like redo a couple of those levels to get it right.
Yeah, like I remember there was one like I think it was like the end of floor 6. It was like you had to push like one enemy and it floated like around the entire stage and you had to like time
Yes.
everything correctly or else it's like yeah no you have to like I use the rewind and the save state feature like
Me
every
too.
time I beat a floor I just okay save state okay
Yeah.
And then like
I
if I
think I
missed
remember which
something,
one
I'd
you're
like
talking about.
rewind it a little bit.
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah,
was like, I'm not wasting my time. I'm doing whatever I can.
it's really interesting because some will give you all the time in the world, and others will be like, "No, you got to know what you're doing in order to figure this out, like quickly, and not get yourself trapped or anything like that." Or
Or chased. Like you get chased by some of those enemies and like you can end up, getting stuck somewhere or like you're not fast enough to get what you need to get before they get you. Oh, it like stressed me out.
yeah, it's enemies are definitely a lot more willing to kill in Lolo than compared to Fire and Ice. Like you didn't really have to worry about enemies too
Yeah.
much in Fire and Ice. This one, it's all about pushing those occasional blocks and dealing with enemies. So a lot of them you had to figure out whether to like how to block them in so they can't attack you once you get all the hearts and they wake up, or block their point of their view so you can get past them, whether it's when they wake
Yes.
up or just all the time.
I will say that I was so glad that when you did like get the chest to open the door, like the enemies poof and you don't need to worry about them like once you do open the door. It's
Mm-hmm.
like just straight shot to the end. And I was also glad that it wasn't like timed. Like none of the
Yeah.
levels were like timed where you had to beat it in a certain amount of time.
I think they knew to like we got to give them time to think to
Yeah.
try to work these steps out one by one. Because yeah, it's interesting how each of these. I think there's like 5 or 6 enemies total. So you got the worms who don't do anything; they're just sort of obstacles. You got the Medusa-like things that are just always active, and as soon as you step in front of it, you're frozen in place and you get shot with needles. You get basically another version of that where if you step in front, and they'll freeze you and shoot you, but not until you've collected all the hearts. Then you have the ones that will wake up and shoot you, but they don't freeze you in place. So there's a few later puzzles where you have everything set up and you can have a straight shot to it, but you got to rush through that section in order to hit the
Yeah.
chest so they disappear and you don't die. Because even their
Those were like the
projectiles
pink
disappear.
ones, right? They were like shoot
Yeah.
like I thought it was fire, maybe it was ice.
It looked like
I think
fire.
no, I think it was fire. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there was the ones that were, as soon as they touched you, they stopped, and love to block you in to make you use that select button.
Yeah. That's another thing where like I thought that those ones were gonna like when I first encountered them, I think they were pretty early on, and I thought like they like kind of fall asleep right when you
Mm-hmm.
touch them. I thought that they were gonna kill me, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And then I got myself blocked in like right away.
Like I was like, please don't touch me, don't touch me. I don't want to get killed. I don't want
Yeah.
to die right now. And then it's like, oh, they fall asleep.
And then I was trying like, can I wake it up? Can I move it? I was like, no.
Nope. And then you got to get touched by them in the right spot so they block other things for later puzzles, and
Yeah.
it iterates well, but I think it also benefits from the fact that there's only 100 puzzles in this, or no, it's 10 levels, 5 puzzles each of 50, only 50 puzzles in this game. So on the outset, it just seems like it'd be really short, which if you know what you're doing, it is. But I think any more than this would be a little much at one time.
I played for a couple hours and definitely did not get through the end of the game.
I think
I was trying not to look stuff up like solutions. I was trying my best to figure it out on my own. Which I don't know. My brain's not built for that.
I used Google, and then like there was a nice guide, and then it was like saying that okay, push this into like this specific spot, and then like sometimes I was getting confused, and especially like I had COVID and I have bad brain fog, so I'm like trying to like read it. I'm like, I don't understand. I think I just need a visual, and I found just like a full playthrough.
Yeah. I do find
seven.
guides for puzzle games kind of hard to follow sometimes, especially when there is a lot going on the screen and you have to do like really specific things.
I found a pretty decent guide. I found this just in general. There's a site called Strategy Wiki that usually does a pretty good job. With a lot, they have like a picture of the puzzles, and then they'd have like talk you through like move this up here, move this there, and it seems to work out. I was able to follow it pretty easily for all the puzzles I got stuck on, but I was just curious. Like it had been a while. I was like, what was the ending? Because I know there's no final boss fight. There's no bosses in this game whatsoever. It's just the puzzles. So how do you deal with, the this great demon that or great devil, I think they call him, that kidnapped Lala? Would you guys like to know?
I did see it when I saw the video, so I
Honestly,
know
it's kind of
it.
hilarious because you have this giant monster holding on to Lala, seeming like really threatening, and Lolo just is like, white shot, second white shot, bye, he's gone. Like, there's just a cutscene of him using that typical move that he usually has, gets
It's
rid of
just
him
a
with
cutscene. You
no
don't even do
issue.
it.
Nope,
No.
no issue
Wow.
whatsoever. And then the trees spring to life all around the castle. The end. Simple ending, but I've seen worse endings for a puzzle game, so I'll take it. I think there is some humor in the fact that the final boss, the guy who caused all this, is so easy to defeat.
He doesn't even show up anywhere else in the game.
Nope.
There's a twice, and that's it.
I was thinking while I was playing that you were so right about the music. How like first level I'm like, oh, this is catchy, and then like it's the same in every level. It doesn't even change when you get to the next floor. All of the floors are like indistinguishable from each other. Like it's kind of the same color palette, the same like I don't know. They could have changed it up a little bit.
You know what's weird? I believe on the 10th floor, the first puzzle of the 10th floor, what's very strange is it actually does have a different aesthetic. Where
Ooh, it does.
Yeah, it's just a single shot where it's like you have one of those enemies that's just sort of the rolling enemies that chase you. They don't show up too often, but they have like the sort of armadillo enemy. And it's mostly a straight shot and only one heart, but there's two loops. But they tend to be faster than you. So the puzzle is basically baiting them so you can get around them, get to the heart, bait them again so you can get to the chest and get rid of them. So it's very simple as far as what platforms you're on, but everything around you is like lava for once. And then as soon as you leave that, lava's gone. Or it's not as prominent or anything like that. And the only other time we get a new song is literally the ending. Like you get an end song, and you get the song that plays through the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that part I was not like remarkably fond of. I feel like it is not a long game either. 10 floors. It's not like the last one that we played where there was a ton of content with it, but I don't know. They could have.
They could have. Yeah.
They could have.
That's a good point. I've never played the sequels. I want to try the sequels at some point. I hear they're harder, so that's something.
This was already hard for me. I don't know if I can play the sequel.
Yeah.
Do they have different music though?
I don't know. That's actually what I'm most curious about. Is like, how do they change up the puzzles, and do they actually, make new music? Because
They probably have different enemy types.
I would hope so. Because
Yeah.
the graphics are simple but charming. I mean, it's
Yeah.
nothing to write home about. This isn't pushing the NES at all, but it's nice. I don't know. It's just I kind of appreciate it in its own way.
I feel like the design of the characters, like they were trying to make like the next Pac-Man. Like they had like this blue circle and then the pink circle with the bow. It's like Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's kind of what they were trying to do there.
I'm gonna make my own Pac-Man with snakes and Medusa heads.
Yep.
I'm curious who is behind this one, and they don't have like any specific person that worked on the game as far as the developer side of things. Like there's no listing of the director or anything like that. The only clue we have is that anybody who actually worked on it, because there's no credits here. There's no like, here's who worked on the game. It's just the end. We only know that the composer was Hideki Kanazashi, and I'm not familiar with that name. I'm gonna look at him real quick. He also did the music for Mock Rider, F1 Famicom Grand Prix, Adventures of Lolo 2 and 3. Very much early stuff, but not really much beyond that. He was mainly an NES guy.
Hmm.
So, uh, curious that in that way. The other crazy thing I just discovered is that uh, Adventures of Lolo came out in '89. Lolo 2
Mm-hmm.
came out in 1990, and I believe Lolo 3 came out in also in 1990. Yes.
Wow.
In America it was a 91, but in Japan it came out, the second one came out in January of 1990, third one came out in December of 1990.
So that's why they couldn't make new music for the first game. They were too busy coming up with content for the second and third games.
Of course, that's all there is to it.
Didn't what wasn't the first game not even released in Japan? I think we either said that or I read it.
Oh no, actually you're right. You're right. There did
So
not have a
that's
Japanese
interesting that
release. Weird.
2 and 3 came to Japan.
Huh. That's so strange.
Yeah.
Hmm. Um but the other two did. So I guess they were like, all right, it did well in America. Let's try the others.
Yeah,
And
okay.
um, and it looks like Lolo 2 is basically the same. It's just some uh, increase. From what I can understand, it is basically the Super Mario Brothers Lost levels of Lolo.
Oh, okay.
Same concepts, more difficult.
Ugh.
But Lolo
Love
3
those.
does change it up because you can actually play as Lala in that one.
Okay.
So,
See, like a Miss Pac-Man type situation,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Even
Yeah.
Lolo this time?
So that's something. I don't know if they're actually you know that different, but yeah, there's that.
Okay.
Lolo 3 also features 100 levels. So there
Double
you
the
go.
fun.
Just straight down your alley in terms of
Oh,
that. Um, Obviously, with it being a simple Nintendo puzzle game, it's just about the individual puzzles. There's not a whole lot to talk about with this one, but I is there anything else that you wanted to just put out there that you found yourselves thinking as you were playing the game?
not really much that I can think about. It was hard. It was difficult to play when I was sick, so I was not happy. I just didn't. I was like, I'm not doing this. Um, and
I
then
ended up using my Super Nintendo NES controller because of the D-pad, because I feel like you need a good D-pad for some of those levels to
Mhm.
like, you know, to
oh,
make sure that you're like hopping on the bridge right away or yeah.
mhm. I don't
Yeah.
have like that. I have so I had to just use my Joy Cons, and I'm
Yeah.
like, please don't go too far. And
Yeah.
then it's like I have to rewind if I push the block too much, and then it's like,
Hmm.
please.
And especially with
Uh,
some, you have to be very precise because you're giving only so many blocks, and you got to block two different things. But if you place it in the middle of the two of them, you block both.
yeah,
So
Hmm.
it's interesting how you work with the spacing. So
there's no
yeah.
pull button.
Yep. But yeah, obviously not a whole lot to say here. So yeah, I think we've said all we've wanted to say about Adventures of Lolo. But what's our final verdict? Would you two actually recommend it as an NESO or tell people to stay away with an NONO? Sabrina, let's start with you.
If you enjoy hard puzzles, I would say N yes O if it with your own music.
The
Uh,
music is a
yeah, have your own playlist.
a no.
what
Um,
what about you, Rebecca?
I think I have to say no for this one. I feel like I was too nice for all the other games that I played. This one I'm saying no.
Yeah, you've had an interesting run on the show, Rebecca. You've
Uh,
gone from
I'm I'm giving them a chance. I'm keeping an open mind. I'm sure I just broke the hearts of all the Lolo fans out there. I'm
you're
sorry.
breaking my heart. I'm so depressed.
See, people are like, it's not even that hard. I don't know. My brain just is not wired for that type of thing. Like even in Zelda games, I love Zelda games. Some of the puzzles just
Oh,
can't do it.
I remember getting stuck on a lot of Oracle and
Yeah.
Oracle puzzles when I played those for the first time. It's like, oh my god, what the heck does it want me to do?
Like anything spatial type of puzzle, can't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I think that's why I'm like, I guess a bit kinder because I love some like a lot of the puzzles in Zelda games. So I'm like I like puzzle games in general. So it's like
Yeah,
I guess
there you
that's
go.
why I'm a little bit more like okay, yeah, I'm accepting of it. But it's just very hard. I think it was just a bad time for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We
get
need
that.
to get something more actiony for Rebecca. That's all we need for her. As for me, like I said, this was a childhood favorite of mine. I understand its weaknesses, but I still just generally have a good time and recommend it for people to check it out. It's definitely difficult. You're not going to get a big reward at the end, but if you're looking for a different kind of puzzle game and a throwback to NES and some early Kirby stuff, Kirby lore, like the origins of Lolo and Lololo and La La La, there you go. But it's it's an easy NESO for me. Not like grand, like best of the NES or anything like that, but fun enough that it just sticks out in your mind. And I think that's what it is. It's just one of those games you play, and maybe it's not the a major high point, but it's like that was pretty good. I like that, and that's sort of where I landed. So sort of continued on. But what about all of you? Have any of you played Adventures of Lolo before, or was this your first time? But before we go, where can everyone find you at? Rebecca, plug away.
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Forest Minish. I like video games and I tweet about them. Talk to me about them.
Absolutely, do so. And Sabrina, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch with Chrissy Moon. I like to talk about Xenoblade a lot. I I still like Zelda even though I don't talk about it as much as I used to. But yeah, I've sometimes I've been drawing, so that's been nice.
Always good.
And yeah, so I stream whenever I'm not tired from work. So
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds
yeah.
about right. Well, thank you both for joining me. And if all of you joining us enjoyed this episode, let us know in the comments and please consider supporting us at patreon.com/gvgaming, which includes our live audience tier that will allow you to watch Game Club live as it's being recorded. But now it's time for the Wheel of Games to choose next week's title as I'm joined by my special guests, Bloops and Brandon Bovia. Are you both ready to see what game we're playing?
I've never been more ready.
Wheel.
Spin it, baby. Let's go.
Let's see what's happening. So yes, let's bring up the wheel. Hit that spinner. I love the enthusiasm. What are we going to be playing this week? It is going to be
Come on.
The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
we're
Diggity
just clearing
dog.
out those N64 Zelda games. That's how that's going. So All right. There you have it. We'll see you next time as we cover The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for N64. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye.